swore in a short time ago. They're wrapping up their field training, so they'll be on the street by themselves, effective Sunday. So everything looks great, doing well, and looking forward to having them on board with the rest of them. We are currently just about done screening 2 new recruits. They're looking to start the academy mid-May with a mid-October graduation date. But even with field training, that still doesn't put them on the street of, useful to the city of Gardner until probably next January. So to give you some perspective. Budget's in decent shape. Moving some money around. The building's 9 years old. We're starting to have some, wear and tear issues and things like that. So it's a couple of costly fixes this year, HVAC and some other stuff going on. My OT overtime is depleted, but I do have money in salary because I've been running short for so long, so I've been shifting money around there. So, but I have to keep a minimum staffing level and have to honor collective bargaining agreements as well. So that's the cause of the rise in overtime. Senior Citizens Academy, again, very successful, run by Lieutenant John Chesnowski, started by Deputy Chief Maroney. It's been a fantastic program for us. They're graduating March 27th. Another junior academy is planned, again, created by Deputy Chief Maroney. That's all grant funded. Great program in the community. We're looking at mid-July for that. So we're looking for, obviously, local youth to be involved with that. We recently switched over to a new policy, procedure, rules, and regulations delivery system called Power DMS. It helps us get the policies out to the officers and know that they understood them and read them and are aware of them. Dispatch, 3 new hires. We lost 2. They started training on Monday, so it's probably like a 2 or 3 month training period. It's dependent on how they retain the information and get themselves up and running. So we're there. Animal control, officers in the animal control shelter. The truck is finally getting retrofitted that we have. It's just taken a long time. There's been supply chain issues still in the vehicle portion of that. We're at full staff in the animal control. Seems to be going well. The shelter's down 1 attendant, and we're in the process of hiring that right now as well. So that's about it where I'm at. Any questions?
Yes. How many police do you have on the force right now?
We're currently from top to bottom at 31 right now. We're authorized for 33. So these next 2 hires will bring us to full staff.
Okay. Thank you.
I was meeting with one of the officers who said something about the IT, the cameras and stuff like that might need to be upgraded.
Well, what we're doing is we've been replacing, as cameras go down, we've been replacing them. So again, they're 9 years old. A lot of them were with the installation of the building. Some of them are, the system we use is a proprietary system. So unfortunately, everything we have to go through for software, everything else is through this one company. It's extremely expensive. So we're doing our best to find alternatives to replace those without having to go through the company, because it's about 3 times the cost usually. So yeah, we've been replacing them. They're just starting to go down, and I think it's just normal wear and tear. But these are hand-tilt zoom cameras, so they're not exactly cheap. I think one of the prices we got was $5,000 to replace a camera from the company, which seemed a little absurd, but we ended up replacing, I think, for less than $2,000. But yeah, it's just the wear and tear stuff. The building HVAC is a constant issue. We replaced the post caps on the front of the building because they were cracking and separating, and it must have been just a faulty cap piece when they put it in. It was a precast. Didn't have rebar in it or something, and as the water got in and it froze, it would just completely expand, and we were afraid that it was going to collapse onto the sidewalk, and obviously we couldn't have that for a safety issue. So yeah, we're seeing some wear and tear stuff with the building. So I'm gonna put on capital improvement for, the top half of the building is stucco and, painted. It's supposed to be painted, and the stucco cracks are supposed to be filled. We're looking at doing that, but that's probably a major project. I wouldn't even know what to put on a price tag for that, but I'm gonna guess it's pretty high.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Yeah.
Next up is building.
Morning, councilors.
Good morning.
So there are a few updates this morning. The department in general is moving forward a little slower than I would like, but I'm just impatient. So we are still trying to hire a second local inspector in order to provide the proper services and protection to the city. 2 inspectors at a minimum, local inspectors are needed, in addition to the commissioner role. We're exploring other avenues, Facebook advertising, LinkedIn. We're using the MIA. We just haven't had any qualified candidates apply for the job to date. So we are still working forward with that. Budget looks pretty good. We're still in pretty good shape. We have some salary surplus that we are gonna have to move around. City Hall maintenance continues to be a hurdle for us. The heating system is outdated. We have some capital improvement items, roofing, front facade, columns, front entryway as well. So that's part of the capital improvement, but in general, we're looking at, 35 to 40% more than what we've had to spend in years past just to maintain City Hall in general. So moving money around is on the agenda. We are in the process of, we've begun the process of lettering all of the code enforcement vehicles. We have decals and placards made up. DPW is making all the wording. It's important when the individuals are out there, the inspectors are out there, that they're easily recognizable as to who they are within the city. So that's in the works. Phase 1 is done for that. We're also in the process of properly upfitting the vehicles with the required computers or tablets within the vehicles so they can better do their job out in the city. An inspection is fine, but if they have to now enter into an enforcement, change that hat and move into an enforcement role, write reports, write tickets, etc. It's easier for them to be able to do that while they're on site. So we are in the process of that. OpenGov, we now have more forms on OpenGov than we ever have in the past. So forms of intent, so if somebody wants to know what they can do within the city, they submit the form of intent, they can do it right online. Certificates of occupancy, periodic inspections, all of that can be done online, and we're adding more as we move forward. So it's a system that works well for us as a city. 24 hours a day we can use it. Individuals can apply for permits. So I think that's really that's really about it. I mean, we're just kind of slowly plugging away. That's about all I got for you folks today.
Good. Any questions?
No, I don't have any questions. Thank you.
No, I
Helen? Sure.
5-star auto, we passed the application with the
Yes.
conditions that you asked for?
Sure.
At that, or?
They're working towards compliance. Wilson Camargo has retained Attorney Graves to represent him. Attorney Graves had been reaching out to myself and Attorney Flick. To date, Wilson Camargo has retained an engineering firm to draft up appropriate plans. He has migrated parking onto adjacent parcels of land that, without prior authorization. So I believe he has documentation now signed from adjacent parcel owners allowing him to use a portion of their land. But again, that's Wilson Camargo had reached out to me directly, but because he has retained Attorney Graves, it has to be attorney to attorney communication. Unless Attorney Graves gives us, something in writing that states he's no longer representing him, and then he can work directly with me.
Those cars that are behind where the veterans, the veterans lease that building across the street almost. And there is a large amount of cars back there now, I noticed. Are those his cars?
On which location?
Right across, I'm talking about the one in South Gardner, okay?
Okay,
And that's the one that we had him,
the 119 Pearson?
yes.
Okay.
And if you look across the street, there's a building that, I believe the veterans rent that building.
Oh, yes, it used to be a diner. There was a
Yes.
diner many
So
years ago. It
towards
used to
the
be a
back,
convenience store.
there's a bunch of cars, and I'm wondering, whose cars are those?
So-
Are those his cars?
Those I'm not sure of, so I'm not aware of those vehicles. I know for a brief period
Because they
that,
seem to be adding up.
yeah, for a brief period that veterans area was selling used vehicles, but I don't know the full history of that parcel.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so obviously there's not too much you can get into on the Wilson.
Yeah, not too much at this point. When Attorney Flick returns from vacation, we plan on touching base again, to see where they are. I do have a meeting with the engineer coming up next week, who's drafting plans. That's permitted, you know, I can meet with him and at least outline the regulations for him as well, just so he's not spinning his wheels on what he's trying to do. So more to come on that one, as we unpack it a little bit.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Public health.
So I'll start with our prevention department. We recently coordinated the vigil for Brianne Pennington. Upcoming, we have a few events coming. The Greater Gardner Health and Wellness Fair is coming up on the 17th of April. We have 54 vendors signed up so far. We're also planning the Gardner High School Health Fair on April 24th. A paw walk fundraiser with Gardner at the end of April. A golf tournament fundraiser with the AED Foundation coming up this weekend. And we're working on planning and implementing Project Redemption photo project with Alyssa's Place, as well as Escape the Vape, Game Changers, and participating in Heal Gardner meetings. Since the last meeting at the landfill and transfer station, the leachate pump stations have been cleaned out and the pumps are now working properly. But it seems like we're gonna need to do that cleaning more frequently to avoid where it got to this point, to keep those pumping properly. And we're gonna be upgrading the pumping system that goes into the wastewater, so we want those to be running clean. We performed one project for erosion control on a let-down channel on the northwest corner of the landfill. We recently got our Mass DEP reports, which identified more areas of erosion on the south side of the landfill that are going to be needing repairs to keep in compliance with the capped landfill regulations. And we're right now working on identifying the exact scope of that erosion, and then we'll start working with contractors to get quotes to do that. We finished grinding of the yard waste, the wood and brush and trees. That got done this year. It was last done in 2020. Our DEP report also identified 2 water sampling wells that were damaged that need to be repaired. So one will likely need to be excavated, the other one's just blocked, and hopefully we can just clear that out. We're also looking into improving the conditions at the transfer station where residents drop off their trash. So we've gotten a quote for some precast concrete stairs to go to where they go to dump the trash into the bins. I'd also like to look into some like expanded metal stairs that might be better suited for that. For our public health, we're still waiting on a schedule from the Montechusett Public Health Network as far as vaccine clinic schedules. For staffing, the inspector position has been mostly vacant since September. We had somebody come try it out for about a month in January and they did not work out. So yesterday we actually interviewed an internal candidate and we're hoping to move forward with that. For housing, we recently met with an assistant attorney general from the neighborhood renewal project. We looked at 5 different houses to see if they were suitable for receivership. They're currently looking at one of those houses that we inspected to see if they can get that into a receivership and back into the housing market. The problem is that most of the homes we looked at were too far gone, had too much damage to be considered. So we're gonna keep identifying potential houses for that program and we'll keep referring those to them to see if we can get more houses back into the housing markets. And then for food, we've had no foodborne illness complaints. Routine inspections of all the food establishments are up and going, and we are working on coordinating for the upcoming food truck festival. So that's pretty much all my updates.
Great. Questions?
No questions.
Great.
Yeah, I just had a couple questions about the transfer station. Is there any plans, or has there been any hopes to build more of a building structure over there? You know, and combine everything, because right now, like when I go there to drop off stuff, I swear I'm in a Mad Max. It looks like it's the Terradome over there, and it's, you know.
Yeah.
So, is there any thoughts, plans, or anything like that, you know?
I did add that to my budget request for the upcoming year, as far as getting some additional money to build, or at least get like a temporary, not temporary, but a better structure for where the attendant sits, and then getting an actual restroom facility instead of the porta potties. And then they also have, currently there's, the only water out there is a spigot on the side of one of the sheds, so they don't have any place to wash their hands or do anything like that. So I did include all of that in my budget requests, and I'm gonna be working on getting all the quotes and just looking into everything to try and get that moving forward. So we are gonna temporarily at least move the attendant shed a little bit away from that pond that's kind of perennially there, because that's definitely not a good situation. But I do want to get some major improvements to the facilities out there.
I was just hoping for that right there. 'Cause,
Yeah.
yeah. I know that I don't know what to exactly call him, but the service guy that works there, when I go to go check it in, he's the guy that I've known that I didn't know because he was all masked up. Like I said, it was Mad Max like, but he definitely knew my name, and then he started bringing up things that we worked together in the past. But his concern was the other gentleman that's been there for a long time, who's aging, and he's like, you know, if something happens to him, I wouldn't even know, because I'm all the way over here, he's all the way over there, and then we have the porta potty right here, and then you get that long stream that comes in the middle and everything else.
Yeah. Yep. We're trying to get some money to get that fixed for sure.
Awesome. Awesome. That is all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Highway Chief, Leroy. Tell us about your roof.
All right. Okay, so I'll start off with a update on the personnel situation, which has kind of been talked about a little bit recently, that we are currently fully staffed, which is definitely good news. It's been a struggle to get there and to maintain it. So we recently had 2 firefighters that graduated the Mass Fire Academy recruit training program back in January. They were before the council in February to be sworn in. Prior to going to the academy, they had completed all their field training, which is kind of how the fire department does it. We do the field training first, and then they go to the academy. So once they graduate the academy, they're immediately assigned to the front line. And then also in late January, we had a firefighter that had resigned back in 2021 that returned to work with us. That was Lorenzo Calderon. He was also sworn in before the council at the last meeting, and he joins his twin brother at the Gardner Fire Department, so they're both working here. And Lorenzo was a great firefighter before he left to pursue other career options, and we welcomed him back, fully trained, all his certifications were in place, so he was able to go right back onto the line. We do have one additional probationary firefighter who was hired in September, who was scheduled to start the academy in late October. His military reserve unit ended up getting deployed, so he had to defer his assignment to the fire academy. So once he returns from his deployment, he will be put right in the academy. He had completed his field training with us prior to that, so once he's back and completes the 10-week academy, he'll be able to be assigned to the line. So it is good news that, at this point, we're maintaining that full staffing. It's just helping everything over there. A lot, less overtime right now, a lot less forced overtime. It's definitely helping everybody catch up on a lot of rest and everything that they've missed, rest and time with their families that they've missed over the last few years with all the hours they've worked. With that being said, the budget projection for the end of the year, most accounts are in good shape with the exception of overtime, both on the fire and ambulance side. We are projecting shortfalls in those, mainly due to the first half of the year not being at full staff. And there will be some unused salary money that will be able to be transferred over to cover a lot of the deficit, but we are at this point anticipating we will have to be looking for a free cash transfer before the end of the year to cover those deficits. It's the overall amount that we're projecting spending before the end of the year is significantly less than last year, which is good news. And the transfer, I don't really have a number at this point, but it should be similar to the request from last year, which was somewhere in the $50,000 range, if I recall correctly. As far as grants go, we received the Massachusetts Firefighter Safety Equipment Grant, the fiscal year 2024 grant program. We were awarded $19,000, which was the maximum allowed amount of the award based on population. The equipment was ordered and has started to be arrived and placed in service. Most of the equipment is replacing older equipment that had to be taken out of service due to damage. And most of it was beyond the point of repair. Either parts were not available or the cost of repairing this equipment was beyond the value of it. And the other item that we got with this grant is a radio and intercom headset system, which is designed to help firefighters communicate better in the noisy environments that we have on scenes around trucks. A lot of the operators of the trucks have trouble hearing the radio when they just have a lapel microphone. So this headset system, it's a wireless headset system that works off the truck radio. This way the firefighters operating the vehicles will be able to communicate with each other and hear the radio communication much better. Right now, we haven't installed it on the vehicle, we're kinda using it portable, and we've been using it at training events this week. And the feedback has been very good, that it's working excellent, and even just for training, where an instructor can talk to the firefighter that's getting the training, they don't have to yell over the trucks. So the feedback's been great, they said it's working very good. So I think that's a good investment. The full list of the equipment that we received on the grant was 4 lifting airbags, which are high-pressure airbags that are used to lift heavy items like vehicles or other, in a building collapse or something like that, to lift something where someone's trapped. The set that we had expired, was out of date, and we did have one of them that prior to that actually failed during a training event, which is obviously not something that is good. So once that happened, we took those out of service, and we now have the new ones on order to replace those. We also received a battery-powered positive pressure ventilation fan, which will replace an old gasoline-powered one that the motor had failed. And obviously, having it battery-powered, it's portable, you don't need cords, you don't need gasoline, and you're not introducing any additional fumes like carbon monoxide or anything into a building. So the battery-powered units are a new technology, and they really help. We also received some battery-powered scene lights, cold water, ice water rescue suits, 2 hydrant gate valves we had 2 that had failed, some pike poles for ventilation purposes, and the headset system. Onto the FEMA AFG grant, the Assistance to Firefighters grant. Last year we had applied for new portable radios, and that grant was not successful, it was not awarded. So the application period for FY23 program opened in February and is now closed, and I submitted the application again for new portable radios. The current radios we're using are 15 years old. We've had to take a couple of them, 2 of them now, I believe, out of service permanently because they're beyond their service life. The manufacturer has discontinued the model, does not support them anymore. The parts are not available. So the numbers are starting to dwindle. If we lose any more, it's going to become an issue. Hopefully, we can secure this funding. The application for 40 radios was $366,000. They're extremely expensive. They are both heat and water resistant, which the current ones are not, which is obviously a concern for firefighters operating, inside of a building fire. And we're in water all the time, and that's an issue. So hopefully this year we can get the grant. I did speak with one of the regional grant specialists that he's a FEMA employee, but they assist you with preparing your grant application. And he did give me some statistics that only about 18 to 19% of all AFG grant applications are awarded. So it's less than 1 in 5 that gets awarded. And over the years, Gardner has done extremely well with them. We received a new engine in 2017. We received a washer, dryer, a heavy duty one for the cleaning firefighters gear before that. In 2020, we received the SCBA grant for the self-contained breathing apparatus. And then after that, we received the grant to replace the fire alarm system at fire headquarters. So we've done very well over the last 10 years with this grant program. So I think we're above that percentage of the 18 to 19% awards, but hopefully this year, this one will be awarded. It's something really that's becoming almost to the critical point of needing to replace these. So I'm hoping for a positive outcome on that grant award. On the fleet side of things, the new fire apparatus that was ordered with ARPA funds, about 2 years ago, all 3 units are now well into production. The ambulance, is scheduled for delivery here in early May, which we desperately need. And the new engine and heavy rescue, they're both scheduled for delivery in July. After that, each one of those units will have to have final equipment mounting, radio installation, and then the firefighters will have to train on them and they'll go in service. And the new tower ladder, we've completed the preliminary specification. The apparatus committee, after extensive research, decided to go with the same manufacturer and model that we currently have, which is an E1. It's a 95-foot rear mount tower ladder. They evaluated other designs and manufacturers, and they kind of said this one is what best fits our needs. So it's going to be a very similar truck to the current one. And right now we're reviewing the contract language and final specifications. Hopefully we'll have that signed shortly. And the anticipated delivery range from this point, once the contract's signed, it has improved from what they were telling us initially, and now they're saying 24 to 30 months. Of course, they're saying that's based on parts availability and everything else. So it's a little bit better than expected on delivery time. As you're probably all aware, we had a major damage to the roof at fire headquarters during the windstorm on February 29th. We have completed temporary repairs to the roof. It is weather tight at this point, so at least we're stabilized there. And the city's insurance company, Maya, has assigned an adjuster to the case. They're evaluating the damage and the process moving forward. It looks like there's going to be a sizable insurance claim for that. And hopefully it's going to be done in a better time frame than we were planning on earlier. So we'll see how that goes. And I know we're a little bit into this year, but 2023 again was a very busy year for the fire department. We responded to 5,698 total emergency calls in the year. That's the second highest total on record. I believe it was 2018 was the only year that was higher than that. I will attach a breakdown of that incident report when I submit my report here to the clerk. And the fire department ambulance during that same year made 2,816 patient contacts and transported 2,201 patients to area hospitals. And that's all I have.
Any questions?
I just have a comment. I should have said it to the chief as well. I'm trying to think of a way to say this, but last week, I think it was last week, I was in one of the supermarkets. I work in them, and a gentleman had a heart attack, and you guys reacted really quick. And you know, there's a certain amount of space. You know, obviously you can have everyone over, so I couldn't see who it was. Yesterday I found out that I knew who the person was, and they're doing a lot better. So I just want to say thank you. And you know, I know the family was saying that if you guys weren't there, along with the Woods, if you guys weren't there, that he wouldn't have made it. So, you know, he had a heart attack. I think he fell, hit his head, and then you know, it didn't look good from where I was. I took off because I didn't see anything. But you know, the family thanks you. So I just wanted to go ahead and let you guys know that. And again, I was just made aware that I knew the gentleman yesterday. So, but other than that, being fully staffed, do you think, I know you said that the overtime is going to go down, right? Is that going to affect those firefighters that were relying on the overtime? I know that's a weird question to ask, but
Well, and I mean, if you're looking at the bottom line of, you know, what they're taking home every year,
yeah,
yes, obviously it is.
yeah,
And, you know, there's a balancing act between, how many hours are too many hours, and how it affects, you know, their family life, their morale, their health. So, yeah, it's a hard question to answer, really.
yeah. I just think that obviously it's always family first, right? So you know, it is definitely that balance, like you're saying, and everything else. And obviously, when you're working too many hours, work quality goes down, whether we speak about it or not. You're not really like you would be if you worked, you know. So I just wanted to ask that question right there. And you know, is right now, are negotiations going on right now? Is that happening?
The fire union is in negotiations now, yes.
All right. How is that going? If you don't mind me asking, in a nutshell.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not directly involved in that part of it.
Yeah.
I understand they have met at least a couple times, with the mayor.
Yeah.
That's really all I can tell, you know. Obviously, I support anything the city can do to, you know, financially help all the employees in the city. And, you know, it's been difficult with the inflation and everything else that's happened in the world over the last few years. And, you know, I think everybody's hurting and, you know, needs more in their paycheck, but.
No, I agree. I just feel like, you know, the departments are a safe net. You know, you guys make us feel comfortable, so I just hope that everything goes well for everyone in this situation. So that is all. Thank you.
That's all right.
No questions, thank you.
Thank you.
Good.
Alright, moving on to ordinances, we have item 11203. Deputy Chief, for bearing with us.
Yeah, so the traffic commission, we had voted, to put forward to you folks, some amendments to the city ordinances on, limited parking and handicap parking to adopt the 2 handicap spots that are on Central Street that go around Monument Park. We just had to have those put into city ordinance because they were put in as part of the project, and to be compatible with federal laws and stuff, that's where they ended up going. We just said it has to be in city ordinance to make sure that they're permanent and that the city adopts where those spots are. And we had voted on that in our traffic commission meeting, and just to put forward to you guys and then put forward to city council to amend that ordinance.
Questions?
No.
No questions.
Entertain any motions?
A motion to send this to full council as presented and voted on by the safety committee.
Second.
Recommendation by Councilor Harden, second by Councilor Heath to recommend sending to first printing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carries 11204, an ordinance to amend the city of Gardner, chapter 600, vehicles in traffic, section 24, parking prohibited streets, Edgell Street from Elm Street to Lawrence Street.
Yep, same thing. We had looked at some complaints we've had there, some restrictions on maybe getting emergency vehicles, so eliminating parking on one side of the road was what we had recommended in the commission meeting and voted on it to send it forward.
Questions?
No.
Comments?
No.
Right. Motions?
Motion to send this to first printing to the full council as presented and voted on by the safety committee.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Harden, second by Councilor Heath to recommend sending the ordinance to first printing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? 11205, an ordinance to amend the code of the City of Gardner, chapter 600, vehicles and traffic, section 24, entitled parking, Park Street from Cottage Street to Central Street.
So this was also part of the renovations that they did to Monument Park. So they, if you notice, they did eliminate parking on that side of Park Street as you're headed towards Central. So we just need to have that put in ordinance as part of the plans, just like with the handicap spots.
Questions?
No.
Motions?
I'll make a motion to send it to first printing, to the full council as presented and voted on by the safety committee.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Harder, second by Councilor Heath to recommend sending the ordinance to first printing. All in favor? Aye, opposed? Motion passes. Item 11206, ordinance to amend code of the city of Gardner, chapter 600, entitled Vehicle Traffic, section 24, parking prohibited. Pine Street from West Lynn Street southerly to a distance of 50 feet.
So the traffic commission looked at this. If you go up West Leyden on the library side, if you try to make a right-hand turn or a left-hand turn, it's 15 feet no parking. So that first parking spot is 15 feet away. So you can't see cars. Actually, I almost got hit the other day. You can't see cars coming up Pine Street headed to Central Street. So we wanted to eliminate those one of those parking spots and extend it from 15 feet to 50 feet, just to give the motoring public more of a clear view of vehicles coming to avoid any type of accidents. We also have an elderly assisted living facility there with crosswalks, and so it's important we have good visual of cars come in and we can see people as well. So we had voted on that to send that forward to you folks.
Questions?
No.
No.
Motions?
Make a motion to send it to first printing, to the full council as presented and voted on by the safety committee.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Harden, second by Councilor Heath to recommend sending the ordinance to first printing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any new business?
None.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second, sorry.
Motion by Councilor Heath, second by Councilor Harden to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Adjourn. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
See you in a little bit.
Yes.